I personally got to find out that I had sickle cells when I was in primary 2. I was the first one in the whole family, actually in the whole clan, who came out with sickle cell disease. I sat down with my mom. She started telling me, she said, when you go to the pool, you'll come back when you're sick. So I eliminated swimming in my list. I eliminated athletics from my list. I eliminated too much excitement.
My parents finding out that I had sickle cells, they found out when I was 8 years old. My mom got shocked because I was a sickler. The doctor counseled my mom. He told her that even sicklers can grow, they can live a normal life, they can even get married.
I was born with the sickle cell, and I've lived with it. It is a very painful case and very expensive. This COVID has done not good to me because I've tried. I could not reach my doctors, especially during quarantine time. I could not reach my doctors. I was using medicine which I could buy in pharmacies. Money got finished to buy the feed, to care for my family. It has been so difficult.
Being a sickler is almost equivalent to being normal. On my side, though, sometimes it can come when you face some hardships, because there are some things you can't do. Things where they require a lot of physical training, I can't be there, but via mentally, like sitting around and doing those simple things, I can basically do them. I don't face any difficulties.
My primary, soon to doing my liver's exams, I got a stroke. I lost speech for 10 days, but those 10 days my little brother was there to encourage me, to motivate me to speak, so he has been there for me when I needed him. I got a second stroke in high school, was still there.
I've heard people say that sicklers don't reach the age of 18. That's not true, because I'm 19 and I'm still living more years. I've seen people older than me, people of 50s, people of 60s, and they're still alive. That's not true. Maybe in the old days when the medication had not yet been proper, people could not reach that proper age of 18. Some could not even reach 20. But right now, things have become softer. Medication is around, each and everything is available.
With the technology evolving, I believe we shall get to that point where we can access the doctor just with our mobile phone. And that will be the greatest impact, I believe. It will help each and everyone. Other than walking the 10 kilometers looking for a doctor, you can just stay at home, explain the situation at hand.
Sickle cell trait is a genetically acquired kind of condition or situation. This is where one has sickle cell genes in the body. This is where one is referred to as a sickler. You have sickle cell genes in your body, so you are a sickle cell warrior in case. Sickle cell is a genetical disease. You can't just maybe share a cup or just use the sharp objects or anything that you assume you will get sickle cell. Sickle cell is a genetically acquired condition or a disease. This is something that we get or that we have this condition from our great-grandparents. It moves on from generation to another generation. Basically, I'm going to give you a scenario that if one parent is a carrier, I will explain who is a carrier. A carrier is a person that contains sickle cell gene that is dormant within him or her. And when it happens that the two parents, they both have sickle cell genes, they happen to produce a sickle cell child. But in this case, the two parents are all normal. They don't show any sign. They don't produce any symptom, and they can never know that they have a sickle cell gene in their body, minus when they do test. So the two people, when they meet, the result, we say after the reproduction process has taken place, the two people will produce a sickle cell warrior or a sickler in this case. There is a high chance of the two people producing a sickle cell warrior. Why? Because the two genes from the two different parents have been dormant within them. So they have reached a point where they have to meet, or they have met. So the chance of the two getting a sickle cell child is so high. It is at 50% to 100, because one parent carries a gene that has been dormant. So we say this parent carries 50%, and then so the father or the mother. So when they add up, they can produce a sickle cell child.
Okay, now how about if it's one parent who is a sickler?
Who is a sickler, who is a carrier?
Who is a carrier?
A carrier, because this parent is carrying a gene that is not that active. So once this parent meets, let's say she's a lady, and meets a gent that has no any gene, or he is normal, in this case, the two partners may produce a sickle, may produce a child who has a gene, but they don't produce a sickle cell child, because one parent is normal, another one is carrying a gene which is dormant. So it can be carried on to the child, or it may not. So it is a 50-50 chance. But then the child, even if he or she is producing, she's a warrior, she's a carrier, she's not having any issue. She will not show any sign. In other words, she's normal. Not really. There is two ways of understanding this thing. Because if I'm a carrier, my genes are within me, but they are dormant. But I carry them. So it is so different from a parent who is already a sickler or is a warrior. So to be a warrior, it is a combination of the two carriers. So the two carriers produce a sickler. But when I'm a carrier, I'm just carrying on a dormant gene. But this dormant gene can be carried on to my children, whether 2 or 3, depending on how you've produced them. In case that child gets married to another child or another partner who also carries the gene, that is where the sickle cell gets to be.
Okay, how does someone get sickle cell trait?
As
How can someone get it?
Okay, as I said from the beginning, that this is a genetically acquired thing. So I cannot just pick blood from you or do anything and maybe I get sickle cells. This is something that is genetical. Like you say, I can give an example. That maybe I'm produced, I have a sister or I have a brother. We are all from the same mother, same father. But you find when maybe my father is light-skinned and my mom is chocolate-skinned. And most of the times they say, this girl resembled the father more than the mother. So that means I took much of my father's genes than my mother. So that's how sickle cell moves in our life.
How can an individual get to know that I have sickle cells?
I will begin with how, as a mother, can tell my child has an issue or has a distracting condition. One, at the age of 3 months, if you are a mother out there, please take this caution. If you've seen your child is having some sicknesses or infection, for example, maybe here I'm giving out the signs. The parent can really look at the child and can tell my child is really having this. For example, in the hands, on the limbs, the child swells the limbs. In most cases, this child loses blood. Maybe the child is not doing well. He or she has malaria. That you can quickly tell that maybe my kid is not feeling well. You rush to the hospital or a clinic and they tell you, no, we've tested and she's having malaria. But after like a short while, they tell you, you know what, your child doesn't have blood. If you're a parent, you have to be conscious and ask yourself, why does my child doesn't have blood in the body? That is one kind of sign that should wake you up, and you should know, hey, there must be an issue here or another kind of condition. Why should the child of 3 months, 1 year be transfused? Why? That means the child really lacks blood in the body. That is one sign, or how you can tell my child really has sickle cell. Another thing I said, these children usually, our eyes are, yes, white, not so white, but these young children, their eyes turn yellowish. So you can look at the kids' eyes and you get scared. You're like, is it yellow fever? Is it what? When you go for a checkup, you find your child doesn't have yellow fever. And the doctor tells you, no, the kid doesn't have yellow fever, doesn't have malaria. So what could be the issue? Get stand warned and know this is one of the signs of sickle cell. This child may look so weak now and then because they are weak and their genes in the body are all sickled. If you take a look at a normal cell and a sickle cell, a normal cell is oval in shape and a sickled cell is a sickle-like, is kind of sickled. So meaning it cannot take the blood in the body. The oxygen the rate at which the oxygen is moved in the body is minimal. So in this case, that means this child is very vulnerable and he or she can get all the infections of all kinds, malaria, all infections you can say at that tender age. And this child will be crying so much. He or she will not settle. One day she's okay. Like these days, the weather is not so conducive. So you have to cover our children so much out there. The parents out there, the weather, this weather is so much affecting to the sickle cell children. Remember, we are trying to determine or to see how a sickle cell child is, or how can I tell my child is a sickler. This is the weather. This child will not be very okay like others. That is, we are moving from 3 months to 1 year. Maybe you've not yet been aware, or you're still trying to see what kind of disease is this. By 1 year, and you see this child again, maybe they have lost blood, no water, all the arms or the whole body, he or she is really growing thin, and you're like, what's the problem? So those are some of the signs that can tell, that can help you determine that my child is a sickle cell warrior. That person, as I said, we call them carriers, sickle cell carriers. You're carrying a gene, in other words, but it is dormant. So that you can never ever look at someone and you say, this person carries a gene. So in short terms, we encourage everyone out there that please do a sickle cell test. Because when you do a sickle cell test, you will be able to tell, am I fully normal or I carry a dormant gene within me? So by testing, it is one way we can tell that, you know what, I'm a carrier, I'm normal. So this prepares us. For the youth out there, for everyone who has not gotten married out there, you can know. You can determine that I'm going to marry this man, but he's okay, and I'm okay. Or I'm carrying a gene, so I have to make sure I look for a normal person who doesn't have a sickle cell gene like as I do. Yes.
Okay, now, what's the difference between a sickle cell trait and the sickle cell disease?
I will explain it this way, that we tried to change a little bit or twist a little bit in the language and say the one who has a trait is someone who really carries the other dormant gene. And then we refer to that person as a carrier. And the person who is a sickler, totally you are a sickler. So we changed a little bit the language to reduce on the stigmatization. And we call them sickle cell warriors because they have really fought or they are in the process of really struggling for their life to survive. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Rita.
Welcome.
What health complications are associated with the sickle cell trait?
Basically, as I mentioned a little bit, a few of them is one, lacks blood, and you have to do blood transfusion. Others, they really get crisis. That is what we call it in the medical term of getting a crisis or having an attack. Most times they get joint pains in the arms, in the neck. Some others as the kind of the end result of how this person really can really suffer so much is when he or she gets an attack that is so severe, and at the end result, this boy or girl gets a stroke. There are many other children out there that have gotten stroke, and the parent has never ever realized maybe that my child has been a sickle cell warrior all along. They just become stiff and they can't move, they can't maybe raise an arm, a leg or anything. They are stuck in one position. You have to carry them, go to susu, bring them for food, anything. They are static in one place. You have to put them in a wheelchair. So those are some of the complications that our sickle cell children or sickle cell warriors are facing out there.
Well, how about the precautions that may somebody observe?
Oh yeah, thank you so much. The precautions as parents or caretakers out there, I urge you to basically observe. If, for example, this child, it is, let's say, a cold weather, you have to get some scarf, warm sweaters, put on long kind of clothes, put on socks so that you avoid coldness. Because coldness is one of the things that really make a sickle cell warrior's cells get static in one place. They can't move. So once you are in a cold environment, you are encouraged to put on sweaters to keep yourself warm so that those cells keep on moving. If you take an example around the vein or in a vein, and you look at how a sickle cell moves and how a normal cell moves, they are two different things. Because a sickled cell will keep on moving, but it gets maybe stuck with another cell. So once it is cold, it will not move. It will get stuck in one position. That means that this child the arm will just get stuck. He or she will not raise the arm, will not do this, will not stretch in any way. So that means you have to keep warm. We have, secondly, to observe our diet. Basically, we have to eat balanced diet. For a sickle cell warrior, you have to avoid eating spices or spiced food, because the spiced food brings the hypertension to this sickle cell child. So when you avoid the ginger, you avoid kamulali, all that, pepper, it makes you move on. So that means you have to eat healthy foods, local and boil. Not that you have to just fry, do this, do that. No, you have to observe the balanced diet. By so doing, it really boosts your immunity. It will make you or make your cells rejuvenated in the body. And the first and foremost, and the pillar of all, is taking water. When I say water, I don't say go to the fridge and pick that cold water or pick the ice and take it. No. Here I mean the room temperature. You take room temperature water. In medical terms, we call it to hydrate. So the more you hydrate, it really keeps your cells moving in the body. It helps you so much. It makes the cells keep moving, not to get static in any kind of way. So one of the cautions is to tell parents to basically encourage the children, or if you're a warrior out there, to take water as much as possible. And when we are to take this water, you have to be keen. Don't take water just at a random and you say, no, I heard someone say we have to take water and I have maybe, give me my jug of water. I have to take this jerrycan of water. No, you have to have intervals. Maybe in the morning you've woken up, take 2 cups. After a breakfast, take maybe 1 cup at a different interval. And I encourage sickle cell warriors out there that at least you can have a water bottle. At least keep hydrating at your convenience. Keep taking water so that your body keeps hydrated. Because once you become dehydrated, it is the worst of it. You will get attacks, your eyes will turn yellow, you will not be feeling yourself, all the time you will be having headache, and this will not be good for you. You will be in, out of the hospital. But once you observe all this, really, it will be good for you.
Okay, now Ms. Smith, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Now, can an individual with sickle cells
participate
in things like athletics, exercise, such things?
Medically or socially, we encourage the sickle cell warriors to do minimal, like I've said, minimal kind of exercises. You can just play with your friend, but we don't encourage them to run, to go for these hard games, because it is not so comfortable or it is not good for our health as sickle cell warriors. It really affects us, because the more you strain your body to play this football, you may not like it after the game. The game might go successfully and you go on and play and but after the game, it's when you will feel the pain. You will sit down, the arm will hurt, the leg will hurt, because now the cells have not been very okay in the body. Maybe they've gotten stuck in one joint, so you will not be very, very okay. So we don't encourage them. We just minimal. You can play with your sister, you can just minimal games. For example, when participating, you can say, maybe I'm playing with my sister or my brother, but we really don't have to maybe use a lot of energy in playing, because once you strain your body so much, it will make you feel pain. It will strain your blood movements or the cells in the body, and then this will result you into an attack.
As somebody with sickle cells, when do you need to see a doctor?
As someone with sickle cell, I encourage everyone out there that please, depending on how you feel, you may have seen the doctor the previous day, but you wake up when you're not feeling well. It doesn't deny you to go and see the doctor. Maybe the weather is not very good, and maybe one of or your legs are hurting or anything. This may not deny you to go and see the doctor. So at any time you can see the doctor, but there's those monthly checkups that you have to do. You have to visit the doctor maybe on a monthly basis. Let's say you can take a vaccine like malaria vaccine, or the medications to do with malaria, with some small infections. There it can deny you to go and see the doctor. Or maybe to observe your health. Let's say your eyes are not doing well, maybe you've gotten some sicknesses along the way, you can go and see the doctor.
Okay, how about seeing a counselor? Because we hear that sickle cells, they have to see a counselor.
Yes. In that perspective, we encourage both the warrior, the sickle cell warrior, and the caretaker or a parent. In this case, if you are a parent, most of the parents out there are not perfect. You might forget and say, maybe you told me that maybe on some of those things that I have to feed my sickle cell warrior is to give them hibiscus or hibiscus juice or anything, but I tried it and it never worked. It doesn't deny you to come and talk to the counselor. Or there are some of those complications as a parent. I may not talk exhaustively, all of them, but they are, depending on the environments that we are in, might be in a very kind of a different environment. You face different challenges from the other, and you're like, you never talked about this, or I never had any doctor talk about this. So you're free, you can come and see a counselor, and you see how you can care for your child at home.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Menta. Tell me about the fundraising program for Sickle Cell Foundation.
Thank you so much. I will give most of the people out there that as an organization, that is Uganda Sickle Cell Rescue Foundation, as an individual and the caretakers out there, it has been a very painful situation during the COVID pandemic. I briefly talked about it, that most of the warriors never had a chance to reach to a doctor, never got a chance to go to a pharmacy. So it wasn't that very easy. So there is a bridge that has been put on, and this is ICT or technology that has been boosted and put in process of all this. That once everything is electronic, you can access your doctor at your convenience. You can access the doctor wherever you will be. Even if you are in Masaka, even if you are in Mbale, even if you are in the town center, you can reach out to your doctor at a free way or a very convenient way. And this is the campaign that you've asked me on. This is a campaign that is running, and we are urging people out there that please combine yourselves. A group of 10 can make something. You can contribute towards this campaign in which way? Reach out to charid.com or Child International page. You can follow the prompts and see how you can donate towards this cause. And this has been a partnership between Uganda Sickle Cell Rescue Foundation and CTI Africa. We are trying to put everything into technology. We have combined the efforts, and we have a sample of 100 phones to be given out to people or sickle cell warriors out there. So everyone that is out there, you can be enrolled. And whoever is out there, you can enroll on CTC app, even if you're sick, even if you're not. Because everything has been so hard for us to reach out to doctors, to reach out to everyone, but you can be able to reach to your doctor through the CTC app. You can call, reach out to a doctor in Mulago, reach out to Fast Pharmacy and order for a medication. You put in your order basing on everything, and that app will be showing you on how it can keep the records of your health. If you're a sickle cell warrior, it will be showing your blood levels, your medications that you've been taking, some of the things that you've gone through, and it will bring you on board. And this, when you call in, for example, to a doctor, he will be able to see that Unique has been on this medication. So if it is not working that much, we can change. But I'm speaking all this knowing that you are at the comfort of your home. You're at home, but you can raise a doctor and the medication can be delivered at your place. You can speak to a counselor and he or she can comfort you and give you some of the ethics and skills to use while at your home, but using a technology. So this is the campaign that we are on. And maybe basically as I'm giving a kind of a takeaway to our viewers out there and the sickle cell warriors and the caretakers, is that Uganda Sickle Cell Rescue Foundation has a day. There are 2 days in a month. The very first Wednesday of the month and the last Wednesday of the month, we do free sickle cell screening to everyone, whether a baby, an adult, those that are intending to get married, everyone out there. You really have been there, but people have been talking of, do you know your genotype? And you're like, what is the genotype? You can come in. We are located at BMK House, first floor. You will be able to receive all the services for free. I repeat it, it is for free.